to me, keeping relevance as a longer series should actually be easier because you're still running, you're still permeating the mindset of people. Because there's a lot of really, really good anime from the past, like we talk about, that some of these young kids, they ain't gonna talk about it anymore. Like, ain't no young kids talking about Slayers.
Team is stepping all over my point. I want you to keep going. Let's go.
Steve said it
I
ain't
want
I
to
none
hear
mean,
yet.
this.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Steve said it ain't no.
Yeah, but I mean, there's some in some ways longer series have the ability to like permeate in the ethos of multiple generations, so it carries on. For instance, I watched Naruto, and my little brother, who's 10 years younger than me, also watched Naruto. So we both have an understanding of that series. We both had an enjoyment of that series that we even talk about it to this day sometimes. What's going on Naruto, like Naruto Fortnite thing. I can talk to my brother about that because he's a hardcore Naruto fan. So in that way, it actually is able to keep its relevancy longer than some anime in the past. Now I think shorter series usually just have a better pacing. They get to the point faster. Critically, a lot of times they tend to be better in the long run because longer series, their flaws are exposed.
Yeah.
They bear their flaws. Another wrestling reference, like the best. If you want to be a good promoter in the wrestling business, you want to get your top star. You promote their strengths and cover their weaknesses. When a short anime, you promote all the strengths immediately, and you don't really see most of the weaknesses because it's already over. Whereas in a long anime, you see all the flaws. Everything's out to bear. If it's got some weaker characters, then that they kind of you didn't notice at first, but like 50, 60 episodes in, you was like, that character isn't that great, or this character's development isn't that great. That stuff gets exposed. Can this writer does this writer repeat certain storylines, or do they not know how to write female characters? Do they not know how to write villains correctly? Is their protagonist too one dimensional? Things like that. There's different elements. So that's some of the pitfalls that can happen in longer series. Another pitfall I think with long shonen, well, not to be shonen anime, sorry, long animes in general, is that if you want to keep people
It's
paying
most
attention,
likely shonen, right?
it's most likely shonen.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you
Yeah.
want the one thing, like, to me, is like that's most important if these longer animes have to hit. First and foremost, I gotta like these characters more than anything else. I gotta like these characters. To this day, I still think about the scene from Dragon Ball Z when Vegeta's on his deathbed on Planet Free with on Planet Namek, talking to Goku, and tears is coming down his eyes. That was a very emotional moment for me, where like I got to see deeper into that character than I ever thought I'd see because he was such a villainous character. Or an example, like I watched One Piece recently. There's a really important scene where Nami, who's a character who's like always kind of like money grubbing and like really to herself and like really trying to gather something. And there's a point where like the villain literally breaks her. Like the emotional toll is too much. And then like Luffy puts his hat on her head and said, "I got you. We'll take care of him." And that he went straight for it. Moments like that make me like, all right, I'm behind these characters 100%. That can keep me involved in anime far longer than any storyline or cool fight scene or anything like that. I gotta like the characters. So for these longer form animes, some of them are able to get you into those characters early and like really develop those characters well, and some of them don't. And a part of that problem is longer animes have too many characters. They'll have like 15, 16, 17, 18 people. Bleach had that problem where you had like so many members of Soul Society, so many villains clashing against each other. Great example that Sage brought up about the creator talking about he makes new characters. When there's too many characters to keep up with, it's hard to stay invested. Sometimes
that was
it's
a big
better to
problem
have,
during the war arc with Naruto.
yes,
That was a big problem with it
yes,
because there was a lot of new characters that were introduced, and it was like, who is this? And yeah. But sorry, go
yes.
ahead.
And I'll go back to One Piece on this one. One of the reasons people feel like One Piece's pacing is off is also one of its strengths. They don't waste characters. If you show up and you're important, they're gonna give you all the character development. They're gonna go into your backstory. They're not gonna cheat you. Some character who might be minor, goofy side character, Tiger Man. That dude's gonna have an important role in the story at some point. Everyone feels important, even if they're just there for a moment, and they even come back later and do things. So, like, yeah, those are the things that I think that could happen in pitfalls in longer anime. Too much exposure causes characters and flaws of the show to show up. I'm not invested in the characters as much as I should be already. And on top of that, you kind of lose the point as well. Like you kind of lose, not lose the, yeah, you kind of lose the plot of like why are we here? why are these characters motivated by this, and like why are these threads kind of repeating. So things like that happen.